And welcome back, everyone. Episode 57 of the Sports Coverage Podcast. My name is Andrew, alongside my co-hosts Nate and Lucas. And it is week 1 of the NFL season, and that means there is a ton to talk about, especially in the NFL. So I've brought on two of the biggest NFL fans I know. Nate, who is a Cleveland Browns fan. Wow, that must be sad for you. And Lucas, and
Stop it.
Go
he can
Cowboys.
speak for himself.
Cow
Okay.
curls.
All right. Anyway, though. As I said, we have a ton to talk about this week. We're going to go through every week 1 matchup, the ones that have already happened and the ones that are yet to come, make some cool predictions, talk about a lot of the contract extensions and talks that have been going on. So I say we get right into it. First of all, first game of the season, Ravens-Chiefs. They picked an amazing matchup. I'm proud of the NFL for actually doing something correctly for once. Just immediate reactions to the game, and then we'll talk about some of the news that came from it.
Mahomes can't throw.
Jackson's gonna get hurt this season. He's like on a
So
mission.
my
He
thoughts
was
on
running
the game.
smart. He didn't slide once.
So basically, my thoughts on the game were that Lamar Jackson learns how to throw the ball in practice this week, and that's all they're going to work on. Mark Andrews, for some reason, was getting less reps than Isaiah Likely after Mark Andrews being a top 3 tight end in the league. And then Travis Kelce doesn't know how to block a player. He just likes to let them run through and hit Patrick Mahomes.
And the other thing
Yeah,
is Mark Andrews, it's not just that Mark Andrews isn't getting reps at tight end. He's actually getting some solid reps at left tackle. So good for him. They're finding a spot for him, even though he's the first string tight end. So, they definitely know what they're
Mark
doing.
Mark Andrews is on my fantasy team, so I was pretty pissed about that. He wasn't getting anything. I was yelling at the TV. I don't know what's going on. I think
I have drafted him in 4 leagues this year.
I think they see him. I think they see him as getting old, and they want Likely to be the starter now.
Well,
Hashtag
I
Mark
think
Andrews is washed.
I think the other
Xavier
issue is
Worthy
Isaiah Likely. Isaiah Likely showed up as a better target in this game. He was open a lot. I mean, there's a reason, not just that he got more reps. There's a reason that he got those 40 fantasy points that neither of you guys were able to earn in your leagues with Mark Andrews. He got wide
You
open.
mean 26?
He understands.
Yeah, 40, Andrew.
He understands how Lamar Jackson throws the ball, which is terribly, by the way. That was really sad, missing 2 wide open receivers in the end zone. But also, he just understands he understands how to make plays. He understands how to be a good tight end, especially in this fast Ravens team that involves a lot of running, that involves a lot of speed. Mark Andrews doesn't necessarily have that anymore, but Isaiah Likely, now that they're bringing him up, I think that he's going to be a real threat, especially against your Browns, Nate. So, just what was going through your mind watching this Ravens game, knowing that the Browns may be threatened by the Ravens this year?
Well, I don't think they should be threatened at all, frankly, because that O-line was pretty horrible. They couldn't line up right. They were not blocking well for Jackson. He was running around in the pocket. He was dancing around. And that's why he couldn't make good throws, because he was always under pressure. And when we have Myles Garrett, Darius Smith, Dalvin Tomlinson, all those guys, they're going to put a ton of pressure on Jackson and get a ton of sacks. They're not beating us this year, Andrew. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and the other issue is they brought in Derrick Henry. And I think for Derrick Henry to really perform, he needs that strong O-line. So I think it's a kind of double issue that they got going on here, where if that O-line doesn't work, first of all, Lamar Jackson, he needs his sweet time. He needs to be able to scramble out efficiently, but so does Derrick Henry, because without Derrick Henry getting quality yards day after day, I think that the Ravens might be in a little bit of trouble, and we saw that with it coming down to the wire against the Chiefs, who frankly on paper still don't look amazing, but Xavier Worthy ended up being a huge part of this game, something that not a lot of people expected. A lot of people thought that he was going to be a bust. He had that really fast combine time, but Lucas, do you think this is going to continue through the rest of the year for him?
I mean, I think Xavier Worthy is fast, but I don't know about his, when I was looking at those training camp clips and everything, I just didn't think he was the Chiefs guy. But looking at that way that he ran that end around last night, I think he might be the guy we're all expecting him to be, because that breakout speed that he had, there were guys at the same level as him, and he was just outrunning them, 2 feet behind him. And we're talking about professional athletes here, right? guys who got drafted to the NFL and are starters in the league. So I think Xavier Worthy is the guy that everyone's hyping him up to me.
Well, Lucas, let me say something here. I think Xavier Worthy, we didn't see him in that game make any like super contested catches, like nothing where he had to go up one on one, like really pull one down. The passing touchdown he had, he was wide open. He just ran past Marlon Humphrey because he was confused. He thought there was a safety behind him. I haven't seen any contested catch from him yet. I know he's fast, coming around the jet sweep. He ran past everybody. He's got that to him, but I need to see him make some contested catches, some really tough catches to show me that he is the guy and he's got the hands for an NFL caliber receiver.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Nate because another issue is his size is a little on the small side. Obviously, receivers, there's a lot of good smaller receivers. He's a little bit on the
Really
smaller
skinny.
side. Obviously, that could bring up injury concerns throughout the season. But you're right. He didn't really make any contested catches, and I think that should be more credited to good play calling by the Chiefs. And I think that Patrick Mahomes just knows how to utilize his receivers well, especially Rashee Rice, who we didn't even know if he was going to be playing this game or how much longer he will be playing this season. But he definitely made a big impact. So do you guys think if Rashee Rice ends up getting pulled from this season, will the Chiefs be in more trouble?
I think Rasheed Rice is a dominant pass catcher, and I feel like he's a good option behind Travis Kelsey, taking away cornerbacks and safeties. Because you've noticed in the past where Travis Kelsey has been Travis Kelsey that he's always been man marked, right? Like he's been double teamed. He's had the safeties coming in on him. He was the only target. But I feel like Rasheed Rice is taking away from that number one target role for Travis Kelsey and almost opening up the secondary for the Chiefs, making them a more dominant offense.
Yeah, I agree with Lucas on the opening up the secondary. I think that it's making them a better offense because I think last season, one of the reasons we know Kansas City's offense, they struggled mightily. It was one of their worst years since Patrick Mahomes has been there. And it was because they were trying to go to Travis Kelsey so much. Like Rashee Rice didn't really, break out till the end of the season. Kadarius Toney was dropping every ball that was thrown to him. And yeah, I think that was why they struggled last year. So I do think Rashee Rice helps open up the offense. And I do think if he does get pulled from the league this year, and then can't get suspended for the rest of the season, I think that the Chiefs offense will struggle mightily because that's going to put rookie Xavier Worthy into a spot that he might not be ready for to step into the number one spot. And Travis Kelsey, listen, I know people still consider him like number one tight end in the league. I don't. I don't think he's the best tight end in the league anymore. Give me Sam Laporta, TJ Hawkinson, somebody else. He's not that good anymore. If you were watching the game 2 nights ago, you saw he was dropping a few passes. I don't know. I think Taylor's getting in his head, man. I don't think he's that good. I think he's getting old. I think he's going to retire soon. And I think that, I don't know. I just don't think he's that great anymore. So if Rashee Rice is no longer on the team for some of the rest of the season and he isn't playing, I think the Chiefs offense is going to struggle.
Yeah, and Nate, you create a good segue into what I wanted to talk about with Travis Kelsey more in depth. We see, like you guys both said, those targets being taken away from Travis Kelsey because now they actually have receivers that can make some quality plays and that Patrick Mahomes has more options. So we ended up seeing Travis Kelsey blocking a lot. And it did not go well. He got that holding call called on him pretty late in the game, and that could have been something that really could have ended up messing up the Chiefs a lot in that game. And we saw a lot of guys get by him over the course of this game. So I think you're right, Nate, that he can't be considered one of the best tight ends in the league if he's not a good all around tight end like they're supposed to be. I think he needs to be able to block. I think he needs to be able to protect his MVP caliber quarterback. And if he's not going to do that, he's not an elite tight end.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at George Kittle, he not only can he catch, he's fast, but he can block. Like if you watch clips of him, he's predominantly a blocking tight end. He can block any guy that comes up, him, D lineman, linebacker, safety, corner. He can block them all. And Kelsey proved against Ravens he can't really do that. He's not. I think his whole career he's just been so heavily featured as like more of a receiver in that Chiefs offense that he's just not used to it. And now later in his career, he's getting older. Like he just doesn't have the strength to get to block all these bigger, stronger guys. And I think that's where other tight ends can get the edge on him.
Yeah, I almost think he needs to learn a little bit from his brother Jason, because I think if Travis Kelsey could become the full package in that blocking tight end role, the Chiefs' offense, which is usually very dominant, could become even more dominant.
And the last question that I want to ask about the Chiefs, Lucas, this was the first thing you mentioned. Patrick Mahomes, he definitely struggled early in that game. Of course, he's still playing with the Chiefs. He still has elite guys that he can work off of on that offense. But do you guys think Patrick Mahomes' reign is starting to come to an end over the NFL?
No, he's got a ton of years ahead of him. I think that the issue is right now you've got Xavier Worthy. He's developing. First game of the season, he played well, but it's going to take some time to mold him into that. I guess you could say like next Tyreek Hill for the Chiefs. They're going to take some time. Rasheed Rice, people like you got to remember this is his second season. Before this, he's played less than 20 games. Like he's still got time to develop. Travis Kelce is getting older. I think this is a transition period for the Chiefs, which is crazy because they're still winning Super Bowls. And I think that Patrick Mahomes, I think he's gonna have he started really good with his first half of career. Then in these middle years, I would say like he's slowing down a little bit, and I think he's gonna have a resurgence in the next 1 or 2 years because his receivers are gonna develop. He's gonna have a whole new group. And I think right now, yeah, he's a little bit off. He's trying to figure out this new group to get used to it. But I think in the next 2, maybe 3 years at the worst, he is going to come back with a vengeance.
And I think we're really talking bad about this Chiefs team after beating the Ravens, who are considered to be a top team in the league. And I still think the Chiefs are this dynasty team. Like, I don't think Mahomes is going to be out of business anytime soon. They just got him 2 young new wide receivers to replace this Travis Kelce role, because obviously Travis Kelce's getting old. And I think they're just trying to bring back the old Kansas City offense, right? With Tyreek Hill, I agree with Nate. I think Xavier Worthy is their new Tyreek Hill in a sense. I think that's why they're not really having him make those contested catches or anything. I think they'd like him to be more of a run down the field, use your speed, get past everybody option.
Well, Tyreek can
And
make
then
contested.
I also think that they're trying to fill in Rasheed Rice for those Travis Kelce type routes where they're going short and underneath.
I agree. I think they're trying to rebuild a kind of full offense that they may have lost with losing Tyreek Hill and now Kelce potentially on the downhill. But you're right. Kansas City Chiefs beat the Ravens in a. I would say, by the way, that it was a pretty interesting game. Still, I wouldn't say that they were completely dominant in that game, but I would still say that they looked like the better team out there all throughout, especially when it came to like QB pressure and stuff like that, with the forced fumble and stuff like that early in the game. So yeah, I definitely think that Chiefs still on the up and up, and I think the Ravens are also going to be just fine this year. But the next game that's already go ahead, Nate.
Can I just jump in really quick here? So when Tyreek Hill got traded 2022, right? Like in that year, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Mahomes' stats, 2018 he had 50 touchdowns, 12 picks. 2019, 26 and 5. 2020, 38 6. 2021, 37 13. 2022, 41 12. So I think that he is, and then 2023 at 27 14. So I think, yeah, Tyreek Hill is a huge part, and they're still rebuilding from losing him on that receiving core.
Oh, yeah, 100%. No doubt about it. Next game that already happened, and this game, controversial not just because of where it was played and kind of all the stuff about the color green that came along with that in the field. There were a lot of interesting things that happened in this game. Devastating injury for the Packers, first of all, as Jordan Love, it's reported he's going to be out 3 to 4 weeks with an MCL injury, and he was their guy. Last year, him and CJ Stroud were the 2 young QBs in the league really making a difference, and he was someone that was ready to potentially be an MVP caliber player this year. He goes down on that absolutely atrocious field. No one had any grip. Guys are slipping out there. I think I saw Dallas Goedert slip right before he was about to catch a wide open ball to potentially get them 20 yards. It was terrible. There were a lot of issues. It was a good thought by the NFL to try to get a game going in Brazil, but with that came a lot of negative press and some issues. So just again, Nate, you go ahead with your original reactions to this game, and then we'll get a bit more in depth with some interesting things we saw.
So I actually didn't watch the game, but I saw the highlights. And yeah, that field, man, it was not good. It's just, I think that, listen, no offense to Brazil, but like they don't have the same economy the USA has. You go to a field, it's probably a little less maintained, NFL players are slipping all over the place. And from the start, when the NFL first thought about doing a Brazil game, I said it's not a good idea. I mean, I understand they're trying to get their international outreach. I just think there's a point where, all right, you got a game in Germany, you got a game in London, you don't got to keep going. I don't even think that Brazil is a big football place. They're a soccer country. They don't care about football. But with the actual game, I thought the Eagles with Saquon Barkley, I know Andrew, you're a Giants fan, so it must have hurt to see that, but I think Barkley's really going to shine in this offense. I think he's going to have his best year yet by far, and I think he's definitely in the running for Offensive Player of the Year right now, and maybe even MVP. I mean, if the quarterbacks played I did last year and Barkley continues what he did yesterday, MVP's not out of the picture.
And the one thing before you go, Lucas, the one thing I want to say about the field is something that people are talking about. It is on a soccer field that's currently being used for soccer. So I think the biggest issue is, and Lucas, you play soccer, you know this, there's a difference between cutting in an NFL route and then trying to dribble a soccer ball. That field is meant for different things. If you're going to go and try to play football on our school soccer field, that's not going to go well. So I think that's the first issue and something that they didn't really think about, especially with the fact that they could bring in different turf potentially, some sort of synthetic thing to play this game in Brazil instead of what they did, which is just repurpose the soccer field. So I think that was the reason why it was actually not very good. But Lucas, you could go ahead with your game reactions.
Yeah, I mean, I was also going to add the fact that it's made for soccer. Like in Brazil, Germany, and England, I think the NFL thought that since they were playing in England in the soccer stadiums, that it would be fine after the England games had gone fine. But going into a new country, you can't think that it's going to be great. And so I don't think the NFL took the right precautions. I don't know if they checked over the field, made sure that everything was in depth, because players wouldn't be slipping around. I mean, it's almost bringing me back to Super Bowl vibes last year, where everybody was slipping around. I mean, didn't Javon Hargrave go out trying to run onto the field because the turf was so
Dre
poorly
Greenlaw.
maintained?
Yeah,
Dre
terrible.
Greenlaw had that injury.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Dre
just think,
Greenlaw.
yeah, I agree with with you, Andrew. I think that, yeah, like you said, the soccer field definitely makes it so NFL players aren't used to it. It's completely differently cut. It was, I don't know. I just think it was, I don't know much about Brazilian climate, but I know it's also, I think it's very hot. It's very humid. The field might have even been a little bit moist. They probably was just slippery in general. They were probably they were slipping all over the place. And I really feel for Jordan Love, man, because he was just I hate to see him get hurt. He's a young up and coming quarterback. Really wanted to see him have a full season. And then they got Malik Willis now in the backup spot. And even if you watch that last Hail Mary play, he was slipping all over the place when he first came in. When he was trying to throw that ball downfield and turn like this, he slipped and then he got sacked. So just bad field conditions.
Yeah, I mean, it was, again, great idea by the NFL. It was a packed crowd. There were actually a lot of football chants and stuff going on. Another thing I want to talk about, though, Saquon Barkley's success might also be because of the newly revamped Eagles O-line without Jason Kelce in it. And people thought that was going to be a struggle for them without having one of the best offensive linemen of all time still there with them to protect their new running back and to protect Jalen Hurts. That did not seem to be an issue at all. And I think that that's going to be huge for them this year, especially against big opponents like the Packers. So just anything you guys saw about the O-line and Saquon Barkley and how that dynamic is going to work throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah,
Well,
100%. I think you take away Jason Kelce, you've still got a guy like Lane Johnson on the offensive line. This Eagles offensive line, even without Jason Kelce, is stacked up, right? And then you put Saquon Barkley back there instead of who was it last year? DeAndre Swift, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you put Saquon in there instead of DeAndre Swift, and obviously a guy who we've seen massive production out of for 3 years. He's going to have great production. Now, I didn't think he was going to score 3 touchdowns, but I guess he did. So good for Saquon.
yeah, I think that one thing I will say that I noticed is that tush push play. I don't know how well it's going to work because I don't know if you saw in the game, but Cam Jurgens, their new center, they had a miss snap when they tried in the late in the game when they tried to do a tush push. The snap went way behind Jalen Hurts. He had to go get it back. So I know the Eagles love that play, and to all my fantasy football people out there, Jalen Hurts, man, I don't think he's going to be that great this year when it comes to fantasy football. That tush push isn't going to work at that well anymore. Jason Kelsey and Jalen Hurts had that down, and now Jalen Hurts has to get used to it with a new center. I don't think it's going to work that well anymore. I think NFL fans can finally rest easy that this play is not going to be so overpowered anymore. But to Lucas's point too, I think that also got guys Jordan Mailata. You have Landon Dickerson. You got a ton of people on that line that even though Jason Kelsey is going, they could still step in and really be helpful. But with that tush push, I think that's not going to be a great play for them this year.
Yeah, no, totally agree with both of you, and that's going to be huge because, of course, tush push mostly third or fourth down. It helps extend the drive. If that doesn't work, they might be in a bit of trouble. But last night it did not look like they were having any trouble playing down there in Brazil. So let's get to the fun stuff, though. Let's get to some predictions for some of the games that are coming up tomorrow. We're just going to go off the list here on NFL.com, just in this order. First up, Steelers, Falcons. First of all, Russell Wilson is still questionable to start for this game. Of course, they have Fields in as their QB2. He can obviously still be a NFL caliber starting QB, so that shouldn't be a big issue for them. I'm excited to see Bijan Robinson in this game. I think that last year he was good. He was really good on fantasy for a lot of people, but I don't think he has even come close to living up to his expectations yet or to the potential of what he can do this season. I'm really excited for that, starting off against the Steelers, who don't have the best defense. So I'm excited to see what he can do. I'm excited to see Kirk Cousins with his new team. First of all, before we get to a prediction, Nate, what are you excited to see for this game?
Well, I agree with you about Bijan Robinson, but I will say I'm excited to see that Steelers defense, man. I think they added Patrick Queen, and if they can stay healthy, I know that's been their issue over the past few years. TJ Watt going down, guys like Cam Hayward going down, Minka Fitzpatrick. But I think that if they can all stay healthy, and especially since they are all healthy here coming into week one, and it'll be really interesting to see how they can do against the Falcons offense that people have very high expectations for this year. It's going to be very interesting to see how they match up when you got guys like Drake London, Kyle Pitts, who we know is questionable, I'm pretty sure, with that hamstring. And then you have Bijan Robinson, and now you have Kirk Cousins in the mix. So I can't wait to see what this Steelers defense does, fully healthy and with a new addition in that linebacker room.
Yeah, what about you, Lucas?
Yeah, I'm going to make my prediction now. I think that the Falcons are going to win this game. Hot take. And I know that people won't agree with that take is finally, but here's why. I think that you got Kirk Cousins in there in a young Atlanta offense trying to prove themselves because in the past they just haven't had that quarterback role going for them. And I think that the Steelers defense, who is getting older, I just don't think that they're going to be able to deal with these new young guys, right? I mean, you got that aspect of speed still going with it. And so I think tactics-wise and everything else, I think I just got the Falcons winning this one.
Yeah, I agree with Lucas. I don't think it's a hot take that the Falcons are winning. I think they will win. I think that it's in Atlanta. If it was in Pittsburgh, I think I would have taken the Steelers. But I know Russell Wilson is questionable, but if you take Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, I don't think either of them are going to be able to beat this Falcons team. They got Matthew Judon. They were slowly in that offseason. They were building a formidable defense. They got guys like Grady Jarrett. They have Matthew Judon. They have Jesse Bates. I think they signed Justin Simmons, if I'm not wrong. I think that defense is going to really make the Steelers offense struggle. And I know George Pickens is supposed to be really good. Now you have a good quarterback to lead him, but I just don't think the Steelers are going to come away with it in this one.
Yeah, I agree with you. Lucas, I really don't think it's a hot take. I think most people out there are going to agree. Falcons need to take this game. It's not just that I think they're going to. They need to. It would be big for the Steelers if they could pull out a win here. Again, depends if Russell Wilson is going to play. But I have a question for you two. Is Michael Penix going to get a snap tomorrow night?
I don't think Michael Penix is going to get a snap. Because if they thought Michael Penix was their guy, they wouldn't have gone out and spent the money and splurged on Kirk Cousins. And I just don't think that Michael Penix is going to get a snap, right? We're in the NFL. Unless the Falcons are blowing out the Steelers, which I think this is going to be a very close game, I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think Michael Penix is going to get a start at all this game. I think that I'm not even sure if he's going to get a snap this season. Now, if Kirk Cousins gets hurt, obviously he'll take a snap. He'll get snaps. He'll get reps. What I think the Falcons are planning to do is I don't know. I don't understand why they took the Michael Penix in that round, but I think what they're going to try and do is it's going to be interesting to see how this Falcons offense does. I'm excited to see how they do this season. If Kirk Cousins can get it done from them, that's great. Maybe he'll get it done from this year, next year, and then you let Michael Penix develop in that time. Let him. He's got a rookie contract. Then you bring him in. He's got mentorship, and he leads them because they still have a young offense after that. But the only way I think he gets snaps this year is if Kirk Cousins either gets hurt or he doesn't live up to the hype that people are giving him down in Atlanta, and he does not play up to expectation. If they start to fall to maybe 500 in the middle of the year, like week 10, week 11, I think they might give Penix a shot because they have high expectations here. I think a lot of people expect them to win the NFC South, maybe even make a deep playoff run. And if Kirk Cousins is not getting them there midway through the season, I think there's no reason that the Falcons hold back and keep Penix on the bench.
Yeah, that conversation is one of our most viewed Instagram reels ever, talking about why the Falcons took Michael Penix in the first round. Now, there's the reason, you're right, Nate, that they signed him to that rookie contract, that he's going to develop under the veteran Kirk Cousins. And Kirk Cousins might even leave early before his 4-year contract is up. But you have to remember, they're both now on those 4-year contracts. They're going to expire at the same time. And my question is, why? And some people don't agree with this or whatever. Why would Michael Penix want to stay in Atlanta after being sat for 4 years? Why does he think that would be a smart idea? Why can't he just decide after those 4 years, hey, I want to be the guaranteed starter. I don't want this to happen to me again. Why can't he go somewhere else and just start? So I think that there is a fault in the Falcons' plan, and I think that that's something that not enough people are talking about.
Yeah, I agree that there could be a fault in that plan, but I think that Kirk Cousins is 4 years, 180 million, if I'm not mistaken, for his contract, and I think that the Falcons they can get out of it if they want to. I think what's going to happen is if Kirk Cousins can get it done for them. How old is Kirk Cousins? He's in his 30s. I know that. I think he's like 32, 33, something like that. 2 years, he'll be 35, around that age. And that's when quarterbacks start to really get into their older years. And I think there's a very likely possibility that in 2 to 3 years, Michael Penix is fully developed. He's ready to go. And then they either trade or release Kirk Cousins and let Michael Penix take the reins. And I understand they would give up a lot of cap room with that big contract, but you got to let Michael Penix get involved in that. And I think Michael Penix, I know you brought up the point, why would he want to stay? I think Michael Penix, if he tries to leave, he's not going to have a ton of value with other teams because think about all the rookie QBs that have sat behind starters for 2 to 3 years. I can't think of many that became really good. He's not going to have much value. He's going to be so unproven. And I just don't see in 2 to 3 years a spot for him on another team starting. So I think Atlanta is going to be his only option.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I think that you're right about that. But let's speed through these next couple 1 o'clock games because they're in the 1 o'clock time slot for a reason. Cardinals, Bills, this is going to be an interesting one. Cardinals, they're on, I guess, the up now because they have really nowhere else to go. Kyler Murray, basically their whole season is going to rly on Kyler Murray's connection with Marvin Harrison Jr. If that doesn't work out, if Marvin Harrison is not as good as they said he would be in any way, Cardinal season not going to work out. Bills, you have arguably the best QB in the league. You have 2 young wide receivers who are definitely unproven, I think, in a lot of ways. You have solid tight end room, and your defense is pretty good. Who do you think is going to come out here? And also, the other question is, if Marvin Harrison doesn't perform in this game or through the season, what's going to happen to the Cardinals? Nate, you're up first.
Well, Andrew, first of all, Josh Allen is not the best QB in the league. He is, I would argue that he might not even be top 5 with all those interceptions. But give me upset. I'll take the Cardinals in this one over the Bills. I don't think the Bills pull this one out. I think you've got Josh Allen is going to struggle. He does not have Stephon Diggs. he's going to have to get used to those new receivers. You got Keon Coleman, I think Khalil Shakir, and then Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I understand he had a few preseason drives with them in training camp. That's not the real game. That's not against a real defense. And I know the Cardinals defense, not the strongest in the league. They do have Buda Baker, but other than that, not too many well-known guys. But give me the Cardinals this one. I think Kyler Murray has a good day. Think about all the things that the Bills defense has lost this year. They lost Micah Hyde. They lost Jordan Poyer. They lost Tre'Davious White. They lost all these guys. And I think Kyler Murray and this offense has a good day. And I think Marvin Harrison has a big game. I think 100-plus yards. And I think he's going to be a generational talent.
What about you,
Yeah,
Lucas?
I agree with Nate here. I think that this Cardinals team has something to prove, right? They went down, they didn't play well at all last year, right? And they brought in a bunch of new guys. And I think the difference in this game is it's Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, Dalton Kincaid versus a Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride led offense, who are two very good targets who are going to be consistently able to get open. And I think Marvin Harrison is going to step into that big wide receiver role. We can almost see like Amon-Ra St. Brown production out of him this year if he reaches his ceiling. And I think he will reach his ceiling. So I'm going to take the Cardinals as well in this one.
So I'm going to disagree with both of you, and for one reason. I really, really like Keon Coleman. I think that he is going to perform very well with Josh Allen. I think he fits Josh Allen's play style very well, and I think the Bills did a very good job going out and scouting him and getting him on this team. And I just think that the Cardinals aren't at that spot yet. I think that I do think that I'm going to agree with both of you. Marvin Harrison is going to ball out tomorrow either way. I just don't think they have what it takes to beat a Josh Allen-led Bills offense. Nate, I agree. Interceptions are always a problem for him, but there's a reason he's the number one fantasy QB, and he probably still will be even without his best wide receiver. Next up, Titans-Bears. Again, Bears, a team with a lot to prove, especially from the young guys, Roma Dunze, Caleb Williams, and then the Titans, they have, I guess, Tony Pollard and Will Levis on their offense. I don't really know what there is to say about the Titans. I know who I'm taking this game pretty definitively, and I think if it goes the other way, that would be kind of weird. But what about you, Nate?
You know what, Andrew? Give me the Titans. They are my biggest sleeper team this season. They're my biggest sleeper team this season. I think Will Levis is slept on. I think he is a better quarterback than a lot of people think. I don't give a crap about his mayonnaise and his coffee and his eating the banana peel and all that stuff. He is a good quarterback. If you saw his highlights from last year, yeah, he had some picks. He came in later in the season. He's developing. He wasn't expecting to get reps at the end of the season. And he's got some serious arm talent, man. And I think Caleb Williams, I understand that Bears roster, they did a great job in the offseason. Matt Eberflus and company and that Bears offseason, they did a great job. But signing guys like Keenan Allen, they got Roma Dunze in the draft. I just don't think they're going to get it week one. I think they'll be a good team this year. But the Titans, I think they got Tony Pollard, I think an underrated signing. They have L'Jarius Sneed now to match up with guys like Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and Roma Dunze. I think they have a better defense than people think. And I think it's a close one. But I think Caleb Williams also struggles in his debut. Not saying that he's not going to be good. I think he just doesn't have a great debut. And give me the Titans in this one.
What do you think, Lucas?
I think the Titans tried hard this offseason, but the best that they could get were mid to low tier players. And they did spend a good amount of cap, right? They got guys like Tony Pollard, Tyler Boyd, Calvin Ridley. I mean, they tried. I agree. I think that they're trying to go on a stretch, but I just don't see the Titans having this. I think that this Bears offense is going to be so dynamic, and I have the Bears defense being the second best in the league, or third best in the league. I think that you have Caleb Williams, who is supposed to be the best rookie quarterback in the league, and I think he will live up to that. Then you've got him, maybe the best wide receiver core in the league. And then you've got your tight end, who is Cole Kmet, who's honestly a solid tight end. He's nothing below average. I think this team is going to ball out this year.
So we've got some hot takes from Lucas, some hotter takes from Nate. I'm going with the Bears. Quite simply, they're the better team on paper. They theoretically should be the better team, especially with Caleb Williams and that Roma Dunze dynamic that's hopefully going to work very well. We saw it work pretty well in preseason and training camp. I'm excited to see it, as I think a lot of other NFL fans are. I think they're going to be fun to watch this season, but give me the Bears here. I think the Titans are going to be fine. I agree, Nate. They could be a good sleeper team, but not here. Patriots Bengals. This one I think is going to be our fastest one of the day. Nate, just go ahead.
All right, don't give me any hot takes here. I got the Bengals. I'm actually in a survivor pool, and I took the Bengals this week as my team. And there's not much to say. The Patriots, they are in full on rebuild. They got rid of their best player, Matthew Judon. I don't care if it's Jacoby Brissett, Drake May. I'd just give me the Bengals in a blowout win here in week 1. They're at home. I think Burrow shines with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, which I know Jamar Chase might not play because of contract issues, but I don't even think it matters. Even if he doesn't play, I still think the Bengals come out on top in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen the Bengals be a dominant team, or not a dominant team, but a very good team and a high-level team for years and years. And in the past couple of years, I do think the Bengals have struggled in the first couple of games. But that does not lead me to believe they're going to lose to the Patriots in any world I live in. Because I think that the Patriots are not going to have any sort of competition this year, right? They just got rid of their best player, Matthew Judon. What are they going to do with Drake May? Like, I don't care who Drake May is. He can't fix an offense with no target, no one to throw the ball to. You can't throw the ball to Nate Kosar and think you're going to be chilling out there.
Whoa, we got shots fired on the pick.
Sorry.
No, but I agree, and that's just something I wanted to quickly ask you about. Drake May, they brought him in to lead this offense. They brought him in to get some stuff going. He has no one. And I know Mac Jones is not a good quarterback either, but you can't blame him for being terrible when he literally couldn't do anything. There's nothing he could do. And I'm excited to see him hopefully get some reps with the Jags, because at least they have, like, I don't know, like, at least some sense of a team. But I don't think Drake May is going to be all that good this year. What about you guys?
I mean, here's my take. Drake May, I think this year, he is going to be one of the worst QBs in the league. That is not because of his skill level. And I think the Patriots are going to have to learn that they can't just be so quick to move on. Your team built around Drake May right now, it's not good. You don't have anyone for him to throw to. It's going to be, you maybe got Hunter Henry, and that's about it. It's going to be a hard year for Drake May. I don't have him having a good year. Don't have the Patriots having a good year. But I think give Drake May maybe 2, maybe 3 more years in this Patriots offense as they slowly build around him. And I think he becomes one of the better quarterbacks in the league. And I think he will develop well with Jared Mayo. But you got to give him time, Patriots. You cannot just keep going from quarterback to quarterback. You've got to give him some patience to get going.
I completely agree with Nate. I think Drake May out of North Carolina is going to be a very good quarterback, but not this year. Because you can't, even Patrick Mahomes with this Patriots offense wouldn't be the Magic Mahomes we know, right? Because you can't expect a guy to go out there and be a stud when there's nobody around him. So I agree with Nate. They need to sit on Drake May for a couple years, give him a good chance. And in the offseason coming up, I think they need to tank this year and almost do a Chicago Bears sort of rebuild, where they sign some guys in the offseason, pick a couple young guys, make sure they develop their team for the future. Because in the present, it is not working.
Yeah, I totally agree, and well said by both of you. Patriots and Patriots fans, whoever you are out there, if there's even any of you left, good luck. This one's going to be a rocky one, and I think it's going to be a rocky one on purpose. So just kind of wait it out, and hopefully, I think at least one target for Drake May is really going to make a difference in the coming years. Next up, though, this is a very, very good game. Texans Colts, and that's because of the 2 QBs that are going to be leading these teams out of the tunnel. CJ Stroud, who offensive rookie of the year last year, ridiculous. Now he has Stephon Diggs, one of the top receivers in the league. And then you have Anthony Richardson, who got hurt before he was really able to prove anything. But you have Michael Pittman on that offense as well, Jonathan Taylor. This is going to be a really good game. I'm so excited for this. Nate, go ahead. Who do you have?
Give me the Texans in this one, and I think it's going to be close. But this is, I guess you could call this a hot take. Anthony Richardson is not the guy for me. I don't think he's going to be great. I think he's going to get hurt again. He's too reckless with his body. He's throwing himself around. And I think, like we saw in the preseason, he threw a pick six. I understand that might be overreacting from it, but I just, from the beginning, he might be a great fantasy quarterback, Anthony Richardson, because he can run the ball a lot. And he's got great athleticism. I'm not, like, discounting that, but I just don't think he's the guy there in Indianapolis. I think he's super reckless. I think he's too much of a gunslinger. He throws in double coverage. And I just don't think, remember in college, he played 1 year for Florida. Like he just doesn't have that much experience. I don't think he's going to be that great. And I think this new Texans defense, with when you got Will Anderson, the reigning defensive rookie of the year, and then you've got guys like Jalen Petrie on that defense. You added Daniil Hunter, and I think that pass rush is going to wreak havoc. And I think C.J. Stroud can have a great game. Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, Nico Collins. I would argue that is the best receiver core in the league. And I think Texans going to have a great game tomorrow, and I think it's going to be a close one.
I think that this game is going to be an offensive battle because you look at the Texans defense, you look at the Colts defense. I don't think either of them are great. So I think my question in this game is which defense is going to be able to stop both of these star-studded offenses? And I think I take the Texans defense here because I look at it in a sense that if you can stop the rushing game for the Colts, the passing game isn't great, right? Like, and you've got Anthony Richardson, the Michael Pittman connection, but Anthony Richardson is a rush-heavy quarterback, and people say that he's a great quarterback, but they look at that in a fantasy perspective, right? It's almost like you're getting blinded through the amount of fantasy points that he's getting because most players do fantasy, and you're not getting to see the side of Anthony Richardson who isn't a great passer. Now, that is me saying that with only watching him play one game, but I have the Texans winning this one.
All right, guys, I'm going to take the first upset of the day. Give me the Colts. Listen, you guys both made amazing arguments here, and I agree. Anthony Richardson, meh. I like what I've seen from Michael Pittman. I think this is Jonathan Taylor's year. That's someone who you guys both didn't mention. If Jonathan Taylor works, there's no need for Anthony Richardson. So give me the Colts, not by a lot. I think this could even go to OT maybe if this is a good enough game, if the defenses are kind of asleep for most of it. But yeah, I think that's really going to spice up week one. If the script writers would probably give this one to the Colts as well, just kind of, put some pressure on CJ Stroud, make the NFL look good, more interesting. So yeah, give me the Colts, and I'm not doing this for Vince, for the record. He likes Anthony Richardson a little too much. So, but we'll see how he does. And I'm excited to see him back. I think that's the biggest thing. I think it's going to be good for him to have a reset for the season. Next up, though, Vince's team, actually. Wow, this is really good timing. Jaguars at Dolphins. Now, here's the deal. You guys just said that the Texans have the best receiving core in the NFL. Now, there's an argument that the Dolphins have the best receiving core in the NFL as well. And then you have the Jaguars, who are the Jaguars. I feel like I've been saying that a lot so far with these early games. I don't know if this one is as obvious as it may seem just because of Tua is leading this Dolphins offense, and we know how that could possibly go. Who do you guys have? I know who I have. I think this is going to be pretty obvious for a lot of people, but just want to hear your opinions.
Hold on one sec. Let me just check. This is in Miami, so yeah, I'm definitely going to take the Dolphins here. Jacksonville, I know some people think they're going to be good this year. I think they're going to have to start going in a rebuild mode. I do think Trevor Lawrence is a good QB. The reason I think he hasn't fully blossomed to his full potential yet is think about all the years he's been there and the guys they have around him. Like Calvin Ridley, he's just mediocre. He's not that good. Christian Kirk, also mediocre. And then Brian Thomas, I don't have him being great this year. I don't think he's that good. He was wide receiver 2 at LSU. He's so used to being the second or third guy, and he's going to continue to be that in Jacksonville. And I don't see him having that high of a ceiling, and I don't think he's going to be that great for Jacksonville. And their DBs at Jacksonville, their defense isn't that good. And how are you going to stop a star-studded Miami offense led by Tyreek Hill, Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Waddle? They're so fast. I think my Dolphins are going to torch the Jaguars, and I think it's going to be a blowout.
I'm going to take a hot take here. Give me the Jaguars in this one. And the reason why I'm choosing the Jaguars is because I think the Jaguars this season are ready to take it to the next level. I think they've been 9-8 for the past 2 seasons after being 3-14 and 1-15 the years before that. And I think they're on the high rise, and I think this year is the year where they go 11-5 or 6, 11-6 with the new game. So I think they go 11-6 this year. And I think that the Dolphins, I get that they have Tyreek Hill. I get that they have Jalen Waddle. But that's all speed. And you look at a guy like Josh Hines-Allen. He has the same speed. So they can't run. The inside routes are covered. I mean, I think I take the Jaguars here. I like Travis Etienne. I think he's going to have a big game. You got Brian Thomas Jr., the new wide receiver. I think he's going to have a big game. And I think this is the year where Trevor Lawrence steps it up to the next level.
Boy, I can't wait till Vince sees this. Listen, good arguments from both of you. It's in Miami. I think that this is it's going to be a game. It's going to be a good game. I think a lot of people are going to want to see this one. I think that there's a lot of things that could go wrong for the Dolphins. There's a lot of things that could go potentially right for the Jags. Just give me the Dolphins. I think that
That's right.
just having Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle on the same team, first of all, is crazy enough, as we've seen in the last couple seasons. But, I think for all of us, we'll always remember watching the Jags and Chargers playoff game. Where were we at, like a bar mitzvah or something, when we watched that crazy field goal? Yeah, we watched that crazy field goal. That was absolutely insane. And I wish that the Jags would get back to that point soon. I think that it would be cool to see them back there under the spotlight. I think it would be good for Trevor Lawrence just in general, for his career, for his sanity pretty much with this team. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. By the way, if Trevor Lawrence goes down and Mac Jones is their QB, well, that their season's over. Next up, though, actually, I stand corrected from the Patriots-Bengals one. This might be the quickest one. Panthers-Saints. Panthers, they lost Brian Burns. Bryce Young has definitely not been who they want him to be. They have a few good young wide receivers. I'm excited to see Xavier Legette out there. And then you have the Saints. They've been consistently good. Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave, those guys. I'm excited to see that. Nate, who do you have winning this one?
Andrew, I'm going to disagree with you a little bit here. I do have the Saints winning this game. The Saints, though, I don't think they've been consistently good. They went 7-10 last year. I don't think Derek Carr's the guy, but the Panthers, man, they're just. I know they tried to add Jonathan Brooks, Deontay Johnson, Xavier Legette, a few guys to try and build around Bryce Young, but those are all young guys besides Deontay Johnson, who's turning into a veteran. He's been in the league for a little while now, along with Adam Thielen, both grandpas at this point. Like, they're really old. I don't think Bryce Young, either of those guys get a ton of production, and I don't think Bryce Young is the guy there. I mean, I think he has a little bit better of a year than he did before, and I don't think the Panthers are limited just 2 wins, maybe like 4 or 5, but I don't have them beating the Saints this year, and I think that it's going to be a real struggle for Bryce Young because he can't really see over his offensive line. So,
yeah, I think this team is just not star-studded at all. This Panthers team, like. I like this. I want this Panthers team to do good, but you look at the Panthers team, and I think the best guy on the team is Jadeveon Clowney, followed up by Eddie Pinheiro, who is their kicker. I just don't think. I don't see a world where this team is going to win more than 3 to 5 games. I don't see it. However, yeah, I know that's why he's the second best player on their team. However, I also think that this Saints roster, running behind Derek Carr, still isn't great. They're getting older. Cam Jordan's getting older. So I'm taking the Saints, but I don't like either of these teams this year. And I don't think either of them are going to be filled with success.
Listen, I'm gonna have a little more faith than you guys in Derek Carr. I think he's still a completely capable quarterback who has a lot of offensive weapons he could potentially use to his advantage. Of course, I have the Saints winning this one. If they don't, well, that's the bigger issue I think here. Um, I definitely think that the Panthers are not going to be good this year. I think that the Brian Burns trade did not go their way. I think that not really a lot of things have gone their way in the last couple of years. So, yeah, give me the Saints, like I said, but I don't think anyone should really be discounting Derek Carr that much. Next up, okay, so this is where it could potentially get a little sad for me. Vikings at Giants. Now, listen, I know who Lucas is gonna pick. This isn't that hard for him. Um, and I think I also know who Nate is gonna pick because he just doesn't like me. Um, but Vikings, of course, Justin Jefferson, but they are without Kirk Cousins. Of course, they're also without JJ McCarthy because he went down with injury earlier in training camp. Giants, I think I just am really excited to see Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, and all those guys, Bobby Okereke lined up on that defensive line and like linebacker core. I think is going to be crazy for the Giants. But of course, we have Daniel Jones as our quarterback. So, Nate, I'll let you go first before we hear Lucas go off on the Giants.
Well, Andrew, I don't know who told you that I didn't like you. I love you, Andrew. You're my bestest of friends, okay, Andrew? And I wouldn't want to make you sad. I'm taking the Giants in this one. I think that defense goes nuts on Sam Darnold. I don't think Sam Darnold is horrible. I don't think he's good. Lucas, stop giving me that face. Giants are gonna win, and I'm gonna rub it in at school when they do win. And basically, let's think about this. I understand Sam Darnold now is Justin Jefferson. Um, is Jordan Addison not playing though? Right? He's suspended, or is he playing tomorrow?
I believe he is playing.
If he is playing, I don't even think it makes a difference because think about that Giants D line. You've got Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns. That is a scary trio at that defensive line. And I don't think the Vikings O line is not great. They haven't been great for the past few years. I think Sam Darnold takes a lot of hits tomorrow, and I think it wears on him. And I think Justin Jefferson is definitely going to get frustrated because Sam Darnold's not going to be able to get him the ball. He can't throw it more than 45 yards with being accurate. And I think he's a really bad quarterback. If JJ McCarthy was playing, give me the Vikings all day. But because Sam Darnold is playing, I think the Giants defense, which is a sleeper defense for me in the NFC, I think one of the better defenses in the league, takes a toll on Sam Darnold. And I think it's a very sluggish defensive game. But give me the Giants.
All right. Well, wait, Lucas. Before you go, I want to say thank you, Nate. I accept you as my bestest of friends. I am very happy with everything you just said, and I'm happy you agree. Someone finally agrees with me. Guys, watch the Giants' defense. Like, I don't know how many times I have to say this to people. They're good. We have
They are. They're a
we have
sleeper team. I don't know why people
exactly.
don't.
Exactly. I don't understand why people aren't listening and looking at the Giants defense. Bobby Okereke last year, first of all, absolutely amazing. We have Deonte Banks entering his second year. I'm excited to see him out there tomorrow night, especially potentially matching up against Justin Jefferson. Of course, like I said, Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau on that defensive line. They've just been absolutely amazing in the last couple of years. Of course, Dexter Lawrence, one of the best players in the league. I'm really excited. So, of course, I'm taking the Giants, but Lucas, let's hear you. Yeah.
You know what? I think this game is honestly going to be a close one. And as a Cowboys fan, I hate saying that about the Giants, but I don't think the Vikings are. I think the Vikings are going to take a step down. The only reason I'm going to take the Giants is because the Giants haven't won a week one game since, or they've only won one week one game since 2017. And that was and that was 2 years ago against the Titans. And if you remember, the Titans blow. The Titans are horrible. So I just don't think the Giants in week one, right, last year, you see them go down 40-0 against the Cowboys team. I just don't think that the Giants are consistently able to be ready for this Vikings team. especially having players like I know Hawkinson is out, but I know that they have Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, right? They got Aaron Jones now. I think Aaron Jones coming out of the playoffs last year looked like a stud. So give me the Vikings in this one, but I'm not saying it's going to be a far off game.
Yeah. A couple of things I want to say, first of all. About that Titans game, you were doubting me. I was with you during that game, and then I got home before it ended, actually, so I wasn't there to celebrate my win in your face. But you were doubting me, me and my Giants, the entire game. That was big. And then we're not going to talk about what happened last year. But also, remember, the Vikings are that team that we beat in the playoffs for our first playoff win in like 10 years, years ago. So I think that I just think that the Giants are going to be a little bit better this year. I don't know. I don't think they're going to be awful. I don't think they're going to be good. I don't think they're going to be where they were in 2022. But yeah, we'll see. Next game, Raiders Chargers. Again, tight-ish game potentially. They're both not amazing teams. Nate, what do you think?
Blummer, can you please stop typing? And then I'm not sure who I want to pick here, but because this is a tough one, both teams have a lot of questions coming in. You got the Chargers. We don't know how their offense is going to function. I know you have Jim Harbaugh, new coach, brought in Gus Edwards as a running back, and you have very, very questionable receiver core. You got Quentin Johnson, who's coming into his sophomore year, had a pretty bad rookie year. Now, obviously, we've seen guys who have had bad rookie years turn into stars. You look at George Pickens. He's starting to really shape into one of the top receivers in the league. Did not have a good rookie year. But I don't think he's going to be that great. I don't think Quentin Johnson's going to be that good. Joe Alt, yes, he was a good draft. I think he's going to be good, but he's not going to contribute that much in the offense as a skill. He's not a skill position. So give me the Raiders, led by Antonio Pierce, new coach. I know he coached pretty well for them last few games. I think Gardner Minshew is better than people think. I don't think he's that bad of a QB. I just don't think he was ever given a real shot in the league. And you look at his rookie year, actually, in Jacksonville. I don't know the exact stats, but I remember it wasn't actually that bad of a year. Here, I'll pull him up. But give me the Raiders in this one. I think that Zamir White is better than people think. And I think that their defense, led by Max Crosby, is going to be pretty good. And his stats, actually, in his rookie year, he had 3,270 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions in his rookie year, where he's played a full season. I think he's a better quarterback than people think. And Raiders, another sleeper team, just like the Titans I had earlier.
Yeah, Nate, real quick, I just want to mention something. You didn't mention Brock Bowers in that.
I don't think Brock Bowers is that great. I don't think he's gonna be bad. But Lucas, stop looking at me like that. He's not that good. Tight ends, they're good. I don't think he's gonna be as good as Sam Laporta. I don't think he's gonna be at that level. I think he'll be just an average, one of those average tight ends like Cole Kmet, Hunter Henry, one of those like just right in the middle guys. I don't think he's going to make a huge impact. I think they're going to rely more on guys like Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers. I just don't think Brock Bowers is going to be as good as people thought, as high as expectations are, but I don't think he will be a complete bust.
Interesting. What about you, Lucas?
I think that in this game, I like the Chargers, but Ladd McConkey being a number one wide receiver, I just don't think he's that guy. And you look at their last meeting with a better Chargers team last year, and the score was 63-21. So I just don't know if the Chargers are able to handle the Raiders correctly, right? And I get that the Chargers are predicted to win this one, but I like the Raiders, and I like Brock Bowers, and I like Max Crosby and Devontae Adams. I think Christian Wilkins is going to be a great new signing. I think Jacoby Myers is going to be good this year. I think that they're going to have a very good year this year. I think they could even reach the playoffs, honestly. So give me the Raiders in this one.
Sorry, guys. I just got to go celebrate my first down 60. My bad. Just got to reach this guy out here. Yep. I'm like that. Anyway, though, yeah, you're right. That was a terrible game last year. especially with that one moment of a 5-yard rush turning
Austin
into a
Eckler.
first down and then him celebrating. um,
Tomahawk chop.
so, yeah, give me the Raiders. I think Devontae Adams needs to still learn to be a bit more consistent, especially with this constantly rotating crew of interesting QBs, to say the least. He's still a high caliber player. I think he's going to be good this season. I think the Raiders are going to be decent this season. I like Pierce as the head coach. I think he's going to do some really good things for this team. And I just don't think the Chargers have what it takes yet. I think that Harbaugh came in and made some interesting moves that a lot of people wouldn't necessarily agree with. They lost a lot of players that I think they should still have on the roster. So yeah, give me the Raiders. Broncos Seahawks. Okay. So here's the issue with the Broncos. Their current QB room is Bo Nix and Zach Wilson.
Hey, don't doubt
And
Bo Nix.
okay. And the Seahawks have some legit wide receivers and stuff. Of course, the Broncos, they have guys. They lost Judy. They lost others that aren't really going to help them a lot. And Seahawks have consistently had a good roster. Geno Smith, he did a good job taking over for Russell Wilson. He's been a pretty consistent, pretty mid-low QB. So, yeah, what do you think, guys?
Hot take here. I'm not taking the Broncos. I have a different hot take. I have the Seahawks winning this game. But my hot take is that Bo Nix will be better than Caleb Williams. I think Bo Nix will be the best rookie quarterback in this class in the future. I think he will be looked back on as the best quarterback in this class. And he had a great preseason. I think Sean Payton will develop him very well. And I think Bo Nix is going to be a great QB in his rookie year. And I think the Broncos are going to be better than people think. But going into Lumen Field, that super loud in Seattle, 12th man, I don't think Bo Nix plays great in his opener. I think maybe a touchdown or two and maybe an interception. And I think that Seahawks defense does a pretty good job against him with guys like Devin Witherspoon. They do a good job there. And I think that Seahawks offense, I think Geno Smith is overrated. I don't think he's that great. I think he's just mediocre. But because he has so many weapons like Tyler Lockett, he's got DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, one of the best receiving cores, wide receiver trios in the league. So I think give me the Seahawks in this one, but don't sleep on Bo Nix, Andrew.
Okay, so this game I think is interesting because I think Bo Nix also has a lot to prove, and I think he is going to be a solid guy this year. And I think that the Seahawks are honestly going to keep falling off. I think Geno Smith is going to get so much older, and he's just not going to be dominant, right? I mean, we saw him not last season, but the season before that break out. But he was a backup before that. You have to remember that. And now he's getting older, and I don't think that he is going to have a great season this season. And I get that you have guys like DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, but Tyler Lockett's getting older. So while I think that the Seattle Seahawks are a very good team, I am going to take the Broncos in this one. I think they're going to march straight into the Seahawks Stadium, and Bo Nix and Courtland Sutton are going to show them who they truly want to be. And I think that they're going to win this game.
Yeah, so we're gonna need to ask Jared about this when we see him on Monday. His thoughts on this pick.
Oh, he's going to get so upset.
I'm impressed with you.
I think he's gonna be on here soon too, so we'll make sure to get his reaction on here as well.
Perfect.
Yeah. Listen. Again, like really good takes by both of you. Nate, not so sure about Bo Nix. I'm gonna move on from that though.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Hey, wait till the end of the season. Bo Nix is going to be a stud. I agree with Nate. Just not number one. Caleb Williams at number one. Bo Nix number two.
Nope.
Fine.
Other way around.
Okay.
Nope.
All right. Okay, I am taking Seahawks. Again, Nate said loudest stadium in the league, has been for a long time. And they're just a good team all around. They have an amazing, well, I wouldn't say amazing. They have a pretty good defense. They have a good all-around offense. Give me the Seahawks. The Broncos just aren't quite back yet from just the terrible Russell Wilson trade, which will be talked about forever. I'm actually going to skip the next game for the end because that's kind of the
No,
main
no.
event. No,
No.
it's the main event of this episode. So let's finish off these crusty teams real quick, and then we'll come back to this one. Commanders Bucks. All right, Commanders. A lot of people have faith in them. Of course, they have Scary Terry still out there. They have Jaden Daniels, who is obviously the biggest part of this. They have two very capable running backs now, and then you got the Bucks. They've been consistent. Mike Evans getting older. You guys, they have the highest paid offensive lineman in the league. I don't know. I think this one's pretty obvious for me, and I think Lucas, you're gonna agree with me on this one because we can hate the Commanders together. But Nate, let's get your unbiased pick first.
I probably agree with you guys. I'm taking the Bucks. I think Baker Mayfield is now, as you guys probably remember, Baker Mayfield is no longer a Cleveland Brown, obviously, and he will always have a place in
Okay,
my
scratch
heart.
that. Maybe
for
you
what
were
he did.
biased.
Okay, I might be a little biased. I believe Baker Mayfield is a top 10 QB because that might be a tiny bit of a biased opinion, but he has a special place in my heart for what he did in that year in Cleveland, leading us to the divisional round. I think we should have won the Super Bowl that year. The Chiefs took it away from us, but I think Baker Mayfield is a top 10 QB, and I think I have the Bucks winning this one. I think it's going to be nice and hot down there in Tampa Bay. I think the weather will have an impact. I think there will be some fatigue involved. I think that Bucks crowd will definitely have a decent impact. I think Jaden Daniels struggles this rookie year. I think that he's gonna have to get used to not playing with a star-studded LSU offense with guys like Malik Neighbors on it. He's gonna have to deal with some lesser receivers. I know he has Terry McLaurin. I don't think Terry McLaurin is as good as people think. I think he's like in the bottom tier of the better receivers. Like he's not as good. If you look at all the top 10 receivers, he's like number 10 or 11. Yeah, if you understand what I'm saying. So just give me the Bucks in this one. I think the Bucks defense does a good job against Jaden Daniels, and let's go Baker.
Okay, my turn next. So, as a Cowboys fan, I'm gonna have to go with the Bucks here because the Commanders suck consistently. Anyway, I think that the Commanders roster, though, in a couple years, I think they're building on it. I think Scary Terry is gonna have a huge game against this Bucks secondary, but I just don't see how this Commanders defense, which is so unproven and they're not really drafting towards it, I don't see how they stop Mike Evans, the top 10 tight end in passing touchdowns caught ever, or receiving touchdowns ever. I don't see how they stop a guy like that with Chris Godwin on his team. And then their running back, Rashid White, I think that's how you say it. I hope I didn't get that wrong.
Rashad White.
Rashad White. Then you got Rashad White on the ground. I don't see the Commanders' defense without Chase Young ever stopping them.
All right, so first of all, I just want to shout out the guy I have behind me here, Brian Robinson. I think he's criminally underrated, especially because he's kind of been stuck as the RB2 in Washington for a long time, even though arguably he could be a solid RB1 elsewhere. Last year he was on my fantasy team, actually, and he did quite well considering he was an RB2. And of course he went to Bama, so roll tide, you know. Of course, though, again, I'm a Giants fan. I gotta go with the Bucks, not just because I think that they are not not just because I think that they're the better team. I just, yeah, you know, it's the Commanders. No one can pick the Commanders in anything. So yeah,
Worst crowd in the
right.
league.
Prime time. Now, I first of all, I want to say this is an interesting primetime game. Of course, there was a game similar to this last year, and of course, the whole reason they're doing this is because the Stafford Goff, they're like going back to their homes or whatever and stuff like that. I think the Lions are like far and away the better team in this matchup. Either way, no matter who's home, who's away, they are in Detroit, which just adds a whole nother layer. You know what? Let's shake it up. Let's go to Lucas first.
You know what? I'm really thinking long and hard about this game because I think that Cooper Cup is apparent according to preseason that he's been the guy who he was his Triple Crown year. And I get that last year he was injured, and I get that he's getting older, but I also see him with Puka Nakua now and Kyron Williams, and you've just got some big names going on in there, like Matthew Stafford's still there, and then you look at the Detroit Lions roster, and they're pretty stacked up too. I mean, you've got Jameer Gibbs, you've got Jared Goff, you've got Amon Ra, you've got Sam Laporta. I think this matchup is honestly going to be so close. And I know that the Lions are the favorite, but give me the Rams because I like them, right? I like the Rams making it to the playoffs this year. And obviously not winning the division because the Lions are very good this year, but making a solid run in the playoffs.
Nate, there's no way you agree with him, right?
About the Rams winning?
Yeah.
No, I don't agree with him.
Okay. Good. Just checking.
I think the Rams will. So the Lions beat the Rams in the wild card round last year, and they had Puka Nakua and Cooper Cup. But now the Lions have fixed up their secondary. That was their biggest hole. They fixed in the offseason. They got Terry Arnold in the draft. They fixed it. If Terry Arnold is good, their secondary is fixed. They got guys like Brian Branch in that secondary that can be really helpful. Brian Branch in his sophomore year. And I think, I'm not saying they're going to completely shut down that receiving core with Cooper Cup and Puka Nakua, but I think they will do an even better job than they did in that NFC wildcard round guarding them. And yeah, give me the Lions in this one. I think their offense has a big day with Amon-Ra St. Brown. And remember, Jahmyr Gibbs, no more Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald is gone. He's retired. Great player. He's going to be in the future Hall of Famer. But no Aaron Donald. That defense, I mean, I can't name many guys that are like really good on that defense. They don't really have too many star-studded players. And I think that Lions offense goes nuts on them. Jameson Williams, Sam Laporta, they got so many weapons. Even maybe Penei Sewell might catch a pass.
Ooh. Listen. Interesting takes all around. As Lucas, I think, just has to leave for a couple minutes. Interesting takes all around. Listen, the Rams, I think, of course, have a lot of potential. They have Puka Nakua. They have Cooper Cup. If he stays healthy, he's obviously a weapon for them. Lions, they are so good all around. I don't know how this happened because last year they were suddenly one of the best teams in football. And I really want to see them make it deep in the playoffs this year. So, yeah, give me the Lions, but it's going to be a really good game. You know what, Nate? Before we go to Jets 49ers, let's just talk some of the other news while Lucas is away real quick. Jalen Ramsey, 3 years, $72.8 million extension. That is a lot of money. Is that worth it, though, coming from a Dolphin standpoint?
For the Dolphins, I think that it's tough because Jalen Ramsey, obviously, I believe he is the best one, maybe not the best corner in the league, but he's definitely top 3. And I think that is a lot of money to give to a corner when you need to spend it on some other positions. You got to pay Tyreek Hill. Got to pay guys like Jalen Waddle soon. His rookie contract's going to be coming up. Tua, you got to pay. His rookie contract's going to be coming up. Actually, they did already pay Tua. So I think it is a lot of money, but Jalen Ramsey, man, he is an impact player on that defense. He's going to lock up whoever that number 1 receiver is. I do think he's getting old, but I think the contract, they did it right. They signed him for 3 years. I think at the end of this contract, he's going to get old. He's going to be older. I think he's going to start going into his final years. He's going to regress, but I like the contract there by the Dolphins. I think they were smart.
Yeah, and while we're talking about those types of contracts, actually, Lucas, you're back now, so just you could talk about it.
Yeah, I heard the whole thing. I think the Jalen Ramsey signing was an awesome signing. I think if they get rid of him, I think their secondary's downgrade is humongous, right? I think he's a huge part in their defense, and I think he's top 3 cornerback in the league. So I really agree with the money that they're paying him, and doing it over 3 years is the perfect amount of time. Because, as Nate said, I think he is getting older. But 3 years is when he's going to be in his prime, and he's still going to be a great cornerback in the league. And then once after that 3 years, we can see what's happening with him. But I think this contract was the right move for the Dolphins.
Yeah, and while we're still talking contracts, let's talk about Surtain getting the 4-year, $96 million extension from the Broncos. A lot of money. That's a big splash from the Broncos, especially from their side of things. And they better work out for them, or they're going to be in a lot of trouble, right?
Yeah, I think it will work out for them. I think once again another great contract here, and unlike the Dolphins, Broncos don't have anyone else to pay. Like they don't. Bo Nix is on a rookie contract. I can't think of maybe Cortland Sutton, and that's about it. They don't have any other big name guys that really need that type of money. So give it to Surtain. Make sure he stays there to lead that defense. No longer have Justin Simmons. Now you've got a guy like Pat Surtain. He's going to be the key to your defense. He's going to be the reason you win some of those games. He's going to be a best player in your defense by far. So I think it was a great signing there by the Broncos.
I'm sorry, Lucas, before you go. It's Saturday night, which means college football is on. And you know what just happened?
What?
No.
Jalen Milroe fumbled or missed the snap on the goal line, and oh my god. Ugh.
Yeah.
This is giving me flashbacks. This is not okay. This is not okay.
Well, we won the Natty last year. Do it what we
Shut up, Lombard.
This is actually really sad. Anyway, though, Lucas, go ahead about Surtain.
Okay, so looking at this horrific Broncos roster, I think that this was the perfect signing because, as Nate said, you've got Bo Nix on locks for the next 4 years, which is how long Patrick Surtain's roster, how long his signing was, and I 100% agree with that signing. I think that he is by far and away the only player that they need to spend that money on, right? Because they just don't have the weapons.
Oh yeah, definitely. Let's talk about a couple of teams that I guess do have some weapons now. Jets, 49ers. First Monday night football game of the year. You got Peyton and Eli on the call on ESPN2. And the Jets, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, both potentially first-round fantasy picks. Aaron Rodgers now probably healthy. It's going to be a very, very good game, I think, because the 49ers, of course, you can rattle off names for the 49ers for a long time. They got Ayuk figured out, so that's all good for them now. If they didn't have Ayuk figured out, I think this would be a much tighter game, even though the Jets have this much talent. Nate, what do you think?
This is a tough one for me. It'd be really interesting. This could be a hot take if Aaron Rodgers goes down in 4 snaps again to the exact same guy that he did last year that the 49ers happened to sign. And I don't know, this game is in San Francisco, so luckily he's not in the exact same field. But I think I'm going to take the Jets in this one. I think that they win this one on Monday Night Football. I do think Aaron Rodgers makes it past that 4th snap and makes it through the whole game, avoids getting sacked by Leonard Floyd, hopefully, for his sake. And then I think they win it over the 49ers. I think Brock Purdy really struggles against that Jets defense. I think he's a little overrated. I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I think he's a game manager. And I think that, I just think that Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, they're going to eat him alive. The Jets pass rush with CJ Mosley, Quincy Williams at the linebacker spot. They're going to play really well against that star-studded 49ers offense. I think it's a close one, but give me the Jets.
Whoa. That's not where I thought you were going. All right, listen, man. We're in New York, right? I'm a Giants fan. I don't have that much beef with the Jets, if I'm being honest. The 49ers, World Series, I almost just said World Series. Super Bowl caliber team. They're good. They're good all around. I think the Jets still have some weak spots, especially when it comes to tight end. and potentially some issues with the linebacker core, maybe. And then Hassan Reddick, I don't even know. I haven't been really looking at the updates with them. Give me the 49ers, especially the Jets away. Oh, I think this is going to be 49ers all the way. What about you, Lucas? Oh, okay. Lucas is having some technical difficulties, so we'll see. Anyway, though,
Yep.
Lucas, pick for Jets 49ers.
Oh, where are they playing? Are they playing at the 40? Oof.
At 49ers.
Yeah,
What did you guys pick?
I picked the Jets.
49ers. You got to break the tie.
So, I don't like breaking the tie. Anyway, I think that the 49ers are the number one team in the league this year. I think that they've got so many dynamic weapons that it's honestly unfair. I don't know how they're paying all of their guys, but they signed positions like Christian McCaffrey, who's getting paid $20 million a year as the number one running back in the league. And I think that they balled out in a bunch of positions and just left the quarterback position for a rookie quarterback who honestly has stepped into his role very well and has been very successful. And I have the 49ers winning this one. I think that if there's one team in the league that could actually pull off like a 17-0 run this year, it's the 49ers. I think that they're going to be dominant this year. And I think that they're going to win the NFC East. What?
You're saying they're going to go 17-0?
No, but I think that they're the only team that has a chance to do that.
All right.
Unlike the Browns.
All right, shut up.
Well, you know what time it is then. 4:25 on Sunday night, week 1, the Cleveland Browns and the Dallas Cowboys at Browns at that terrible stadium.
Ooh. Andrew, you go first. Wait. Andrew, we have to have you go first because
I'm gonna.
You go.
No. Actually, I'm gonna go last because I want to break the tie. I want to hear. You know what? This is what we're gonna do. Each of you each have 1 minute to tell me why your team is gonna win this game. Nate, ready, set, go.
All right, give me the Cowboys. Nah, screw it. Give me the Browns in this one. All right, Deshaun Watson. I don't care how many, whatever he did. I don't care.
How many masseuses? How many massages? He's done.
All right, shut up. He's the guy here in Cleveland. This is my minute. He's the guy here in Cleveland. Him, Amari Cooper, they're gonna have a connection. David Njoku's gonna go off. Deron Bland is out. Who do you have? Stephon Gilmore, that 70-year-old. He's not gonna cover anyone. He's slow. I don't care if Nick Chubb's not there. We're still going to run behind that star-studded offensive line with Jerome Ford. He's going to go off. Cowboys offense, Dak Prescott, most overrated QB in the league. So overrated. Horrible quarterback. You have no running backs. You have Ezekiel Elliott and Rico Dowdle and 5'5" Deuce Vaughn. Like, seriously. And then you have CeeDee Lamb. All right, I'll give it to you. That's a good player. Jake Ferguson. Give me the Browns. And go dog pound.
Exactly 1 minute.
Is it my minute
Lucas,
yet?
go.
Okay. So basically, you got a quarterback in Deshaun Watson who has a completion percentage over the last 2 years, which at the highest was 61.4, and a highest QBR over the last 2 years of an 84.3. Then you look at Dak Prescott, who finished second last year in MVP votes, so you're calling trash, with a 69.5% completion percentage and 105.9 passer rating. So even over 2 years, Deshaun Watson hasn't been able to beat Dak Prescott's last year. And then you also look at the rest of our team, right? You've got Zach Martin, who has been maybe the best O-lineman who is maybe the best O-lineman in the league behind Trent Williams this year. So I believe that the Cowboys are going to win this one 100% of the time because historically the Browns haven't been a great team either, right? Like you've looked at their records, just haven't been great. You know, you look at their whole team. Jerome Ford is their starting running back.
1 minute. 1 minute. That's it. That's it.
Shut up. Shh. All right, Andrew, let's hear it. This could change everything.
This really could. This could change our friendship, Nate, that we established.
You're too biased, bro.
You
You're
might
going to be so
Giants.
biased.
No. Lucas, listen. I appreciate talent. Okay.
Yeah, the Cowboys don't have.
So we just have a more talented roster than you guys. Clearly. Far and away a more
All
talented
right,
roster.
listen. I'm going to talk about some flaws with each team. Number one, Deshaun Watson is your quarterback, Nate. That's
Are you kidding me?
I'd have
Very,
more faith.
very awesome take.
I'd have more faith in Joe Flacco out there right now. So
Me
you
too.
know, that's the first issue. Second issue, Lucas. I didn't remember Dak Prescott ever being like, good.
Except for
I-
last year, where he got second in MVP votes and was making him the second best quarterback in the
And
league. But yeah, just forget about that. Just forget about that.
and how deep did you go in the playoffs again?
So this isn't the playoffs that we're playing in. We're playing against the Browns. They don't make the playoffs. They're a non-playoff team.
We made the playoffs last year.
Okay.
For the first time.
Now here's the
Browns
next
team,
issue.
They make the playoffs
Nate?
after going 0-17 for
No,
3
we made-
seasons in a row.
Okay.
All right, keep going,
Next issue,
Andrew.
Nate, what the hell is a brown and why is that your team name? Like, there's no mascot. You have a dog and a gremlin. Like, what do those have to do with it?
mascot just died. How can you say that?
You guys have a helmet for your logo.
The dog that comes out of our games died like 2 weeks ago. Are you kidding me, Andrew? That's nonsense.
Sorry. Can you tell me a bit about like the gnome or like the gremlin or whatever? Like, what's the
It's an elf.
significance of that? Okay, yeah, an elf. It's not Christmas. Like, what?
Oh, no, I don't
Merry
You don't
Christmas in October. Merry Christmas, it's September 7th.
Wow.
Great
Lucas,
tradition, huh?
next flaw with you guys, the owner of your team is old and has no idea what he's doing.
Okay, so that is a big flaw of the Cowboys. Jerry Jones, I mean, he is but
He's a
that doesn't
9-year-old
affect our
man.
team because
It's gotta be.
all he does is say yes or no to signings. So if we just ask him enough times, he'll just make decisions basically 50-50 every time. So eventually we'll just get the decision we like. So it doesn't matter about that, right? Because, you're basically, and he doesn't affect the games. You think if he's telling Mike McCarthy to put Jalen Tolbert in,
But the other issue is Mike McCarthy isn't good either.
Mike McCarthy, the guy who led the pack, took the Packers from a nothing organization to one of the best organizations in the league. Yeah, he's a horrible coach. Nice one, Andrew.
Nothing
Oh, you're supposed to be
organization.
smart. Yeah, the Packers weren't.
Okay, guys, hold on. It's time for my decision. Everyone, it's time for my decision. First of all, I just want to see if I could do the Dak Prescott warm up real quick, just to get me ready and hyped for the
Wait. I want to do it at the same time. Wait.
You gotta like go to the side, Andrew, like this, and then go.
Oh
Yeah, Andrew, you really got to get the rotate in.
See, this is like, I think this is how he learned to throw picks. I think like this
He throws a lot of picks, doesn't he?
This emotion really
He
makes
threw
me
less
feel
than
like
Deshaun
I'm about to
Watson
throw
last
it
year.
into
Or no,
my
actually,
back.
no, he
No,
threw
he
more.
didn't.
Yeah, because Deshaun Watson was injured. My fault.
Okay,
Yeah,
but give me the
This is so
Well-
free, Andrew. If Andrew
Free.
wasn't a Giants, if Andrew wasn't a Giants fan, he would 100% of the time choose the Cowboys.
No, he
But now
wouldn't.
he has
The
to
Browns are
decide. Sorry, that take made me want to throw up.
You know who to pick.
bro
Shut
is
up, London.
dying.
Sorry, I'm dying because that take was so horrible. All right, you're up.
Shut up.
All right, give me the Browns. All right. Highest.
No, it's all Andrew. You
Oh,
would never
it's
take a
not.
team. Andrew. You would never take a team and went 12-5 and won the division in the toughest division in the league last
But the
year.
thing is, I know
Over-
That's not the toughest
wait,
division in the league. It's not the
Lucas.
toughest division in the league. What are you on?
That's
Lucas.
this year, not last year. Hello.
Lucas, would it
Last
make you
year,
feel
yes, they
better?
were. They had 3 playoff teams.
Would it make you feel better if I tell you that I think that the Cowboys are going to beat us in the standings this year? Because they are. They're a better team. I just think tomorrow night, I think the Browns
What?
are going to win.
Well, because the Cowboys won 40-0 last year. You don't think that was good enough? You wanted us to win 48-0 against your New York Giants because they suck that bad in Week 1 every year.
Okay.
This is why I pick the Browns. This is what Cowboys fans are like.
All right. But that's pretty much going to do it for episode 57 of the Sports Coverage Podcast. My name is Andrew, alongside my co-host Nate and Lucas. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me. We had some good picks. It's going to be interesting to see. And at the end of the weekend, I'm going to go back through this, and I'm going to count up who had the best predictions for the weekend, and they will be the winner here as we
Don't
post
forget
it.
to like and subscribe if you want me back.
Wait.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
does winner get?
Like and subscribe
What
if you
does
want
winner
Nate
get?
back. Winner
Like and
gets
subscribe if you want Lucas to become the new host.
Like and subscribe if you want Lucas to just shut up and like leave because he's a Cowboys fan.
exclusive clips and posts
All right,
over on
masseuse.
Instagram, audio only over on Spotify. Check out all that kind of stuff. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening. Winner gets to be back on next week.
No. Winner should get something else. Winner gets $5
No,
in
winner
the
gets to be on
bookstore from
next
whoever got the worst.
I want to be back.
Oh, no. Let's do this. Winner gets to do their City Series episode first.
What's that?
Oh, bet.
The series, so I started a series where we go city by city, going through all the sports in that city and kind of just talking about it with fans from there. So Nate, you would get to do Cleveland, and Lucas would get to do Dallas. So whoever does better gets to do that first and proves to be the better sports city. And then the next person has to follow it up. But that's pretty much going to do it again for episode 57 of the Sports Coverage Podcast. Thank you guys so much for joining me. We'll see you next week. Go Giants. I'm not going to let you guys say anything else because I'm stopping the
Go
recording.
Browns.